That's not a funny situation, by the way, just to clarify.
There's no debate on how good at football our next guest is. Yeah, please welcome to the show, Arsenal and England Lioness. It is Leah Williamson.
Yeah. Woo-hoo.
El Capitano. How are we?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Now, look, obviously, it's the same thing that I said to Beth Mead when she came on the show. I mean, I've got to start with the obvious. It's gutting not being out there with the girls right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's more like they're my mates, you know. I want to be out there having a good time with them. Obviously, I miss the football.
Yeah. You're just missing out on a massive party out in Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
How have you found it, though? I mean, how is it like, you know, because I presume this is something you've never done before, you know, kind of sat just having to watch the game and, you know, keep in on it. How's it been for you?
Yeah, it's hard. It's like, at the end of the day, we're on the outside. I don't want to geg in too much, but at the same time, it's them. They're like my family. So I don't know. It's nice. It's nice just watching and being proud of them. But I'd much rather be involved.
Yeah. Well, we know when last time you were involved. I mean, it's a happy anniversary because it was a year yesterday since you won the Euros. I mean, be honest, how often do you go back and watch that final again?
My cousin has found like a link where she can watch the whole game, and she watches it like almost weekly.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not sure she'd be happy I told you that, but I do watch it every now and again, just the little documentaries and stuff, because I don't really want to forget all of the details. I felt.
As Ro was saying, we had your fellow Gooner and Lioness, Beth Mead, on the show. And this sounds really brutal. She was explaining how she got kicked out the Lioness WhatsApp group. It's savage. Has this happened to you as well?
So that's not a funny situation, by the way, just to clarify. No, I think I was in for a while, and then it got to a point where obviously I was in till April. So then they started doing all prep, and I was like, probably time for me to just leave now.
So did you leave?
I'm going to say I took control and was like, am I needed for anything, or can I just dip out now? Thank you.
Wow.
We have that with this show, by the way, Leah. So if someone joins this show and then if someone leaves, Roman takes the responsibility of
removing,
culling them.
Like it's straight down. Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
goodbye.
Exit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's how, you know. But we're both captains. We know how it should go. I'm far from a captain, Leah. Let me tell you. You don't want me as a captain.
Oh, Leah, we've seen though. I know that you're like obviously recovering from injury, but we've seen that you seem to be enjoying yourself. You're at the Wimbledon, the F1. You saw Pink in concert. You've been in Ibiza. So have you been having like a bit of fun, having a bit of time off?
You know what? This is what life is like for everyone that has a 9 to 5 and is free on the weekends. I mean, actually, that was my last weekend off. That's just been. Now I'm back in proper timings, like a proper footballer again. So less Instagram posts, I think, from now until Christmas.
How have you found our performances so far? 2 kind of cagey games, 1-0 wins.
If you look at the whole tournament, it's been a bit crazy in terms of. I know there's been a couple of games where there's been loads of goals, but everyone's playing quite cagey football. And if you think back to the Euros, if anyone can remember that far, like our first game against Austria, we were not the team that played in the final, were we? So I'm actually quietly. I think it's quite nice to go about your business quietly.
Now, talk to me, right? Because I always hear this when it comes to like sports tournaments and specifically football tournaments. Is it a thing about peaking too soon? And you don't want to peak too soon. You want to get those like little results, and you want to peak right at that final.
Exactly. If you was playing your best football on day one, you'd think, I've got 6 weeks to try to keep this up now. Yeah. So I'm not saying that you don't want to play well, but I think if you're not growing as it goes on and you're spending every day together as a team, you'd be a little bit worried. Right. By Norway last year, we win 8-0. I'm thinking, that's tough to follow. And yeah.
It must be so hard because you're having to try not to be a backseat driver. You know, you're the former captain, you're watching your team play. But from your opinion, who's the biggest rival, do you think, for the girls?
It's hard. They've got a really hard run in. Like if you look at the games, I think in terms of favourites for the tournament, it's the USA. And then if you're talking about capabilities of winning, which the Lionesses 100% have, then I'd say from history speaking, you'd say the US, but all the European teams, the Dutch, the Germans, Spain, it's not an easy tournament to play in, I tell you that.
And then looking ahead for this tournament, Keira Walsh being out, how big a blow do you think that is, Leah?
I think she is the most important person in terms of the way that we play, and
Oh no.
yeah, no, that was actually a nice thing, guys. That was a compliment.
Well, it's not coming across nice. It's coming across, that's it. Pack the bags, girls. You're coming home.
I think at a world, if you're going to lose somebody like that, you know, like it's a World Cup, it's a chance for everybody. Everybody has to step up anyway, and you're just asking people to go a little bit further now. But I think when you lose a player like that, it gives everybody a real, I don't know, it's, you know, like I said, it's family. So then everyone gets a bit of a second wind, I think, just thinking, right, let's start, you know, really, I don't know, stepping up to the plate.
On a different subject, well, kind of the same thing. There are so many. You look at the injury list, right? ACL.
Yeah.
How come that injury specifically is so prominent within the women's game? Because it is.
There's so many things. I think the stat is like ACLs alone, there's like 37 players missing from this World Cup, which is actually disgusting. But I think there's so many things, like our hips are like lined slightly differently to men, and all this stuff that people have sort of said can contribute, hormones, normal things like stress and whatever. But I just think it's, you know, the women's game, one day we're a kid playing football, and then the next day we're a professional, like my generation especially, you know, training 3 times a week to then training every day, play Champions League, World Cups, European Championships, etc.
Yeah.
So I just think until that sort of gets more like the boys, where they're literally bred for it from the day they're signed at 6, it will happen a few more times, because it's like, I don't think we're ready for that. That's what I think is a bit of a contributing factor anyway.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because I was hearing about the boots and the way the boots are and stuff like that. Do they make boots just for women now?
They do now. But yeah, you got to think everything that we base our game off is technically research that was done on men.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
So there's so much now that we need to maybe make a little bit more focus to women, because otherwise it will happen over and over again. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
But that's why I thought it was so interesting, because you're so right. You know, you think of the science behind it. Everyone's going, oh, how come we're always injured? We've got all our best players out. Well, it's because the men's game, the game has been based around men. Do you know what I mean?
And even the training, I suppose, up until maybe recently.
Exactly. Our bodies are completely different, and the studies that go into it, and like a professional sportswoman, the studies around that is few and far between.
Wow. So do you think that's something that progressively it will get better?
I think so. I think if you ever needed a wake-up call, I'd say this year with the ACLs is, if nobody wakes up now, then we've got a bit of a problem.
Yeah. But also, Leah, it's a fantastic business opportunity for you. A bit like the R9s. We'll have the W9s.
Yeah, exactly. This could be
get those
W6s. Get the W6s.
What are you guys on about?
So like R9 was like Ronaldo. He was number 9, and they were his boots.
On his boots.
Like he had his own brand of boots.
boots.
So like Leah could bring out her own boots.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, you got to do that. We'll take 10%. We'll take 10%.
I was going to say, how much did you want?
Hey, look, Leah, go on then. We asked this to Beth as well. She wasn't too sure. Do the ladies have a new song that they're championing? Because obviously you had ABBA last time.
Yeah, I don't know. And I need to find that out, because otherwise I'm going to be on the outside when I go back in.
No!
So yeah, I do need to find out. I don't really know. I'm going to assume it's something a little bit more modern, because Katie Zellum is a little bit more of a progressive DJ than I am, I think. Right.
Okay. We'll see. We'll try and do some underground work there and try and figure it out. Before you go, score prediction for today: England versus China.
Oh, I'm going to say 2-0 England.
2-0.
Nice.
Okay, 2-0. And are we going to win the whole thing?
Yeah, I've got to believe until we don't, right?
Yeah, that's it. Believe until we don't. That's it. Leah, thank you so much for coming on the show, as ever. Always so nice to chat to you. And I know you've also got a children's book coming at the end of the month. Is that right?
I have. I wrote it with my cousin, so it's quite special to me, actually. Yeah.
Oh wow!
So what's the name of the book?
It's The Wonder Team and the Forgotten Footballers. It's kind of a little bit of women's football history, but more just kids on an adventure, which is
amazing.
Something I'll do at that age. Hopefully, other people will feel the same.
Love that. Well, you can get that at the end of the month. So I'd love to have you in the studio, talk about that when it comes out. Until then, please give it up for Leah Williamson, everyone.
Yeah! Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you.